The Showdown is not meant to cause offense or harm. The viewer acknowledges any reliance on the accuracy or completeness of said content should be done at their own discretion. The host apologizes in advance for any affront as a result of personal attacks.
Just as we're coming on, Ron says, I have some static in my ear. No, we do that to you during the
showdown.
That's the showdown.
Oh,
we mess with your mind as you come out here. All right, I have a big picture philosophy thing here.
Okay.
And are you buying? Because this is a philosophy. I heard this by a lot of broadcast teams. It was even posited to you.
Okay.
Mets, Padres, Mariners, Cardinals. And it's kind of a sabermetric thought that, hey, you know, we're playing blackjack. We're rolling the dice. If you roll the dice again, the outcome is very different for all these teams. Last year, all those underperforming, puzzling teams. Yeah. Do you buy into that theory or not?
I don't. I think that to take a team and say to yourself, boy, they played all the way to July at 10 or 15 games under 500. And just because there is history of that with other teams in the past, that if we had kept the team together, certainly they would be a team that would have come back strong and made the postseason. I don't believe in that. I think when you have 4 or 5 months to look at, you know exactly what you have.
See, also, you were asked that actually by Gary Cohen, and you were like, no. You actually said, no, there was not the same attention to detail for that Mets team last year as the Mets team the prior year. Yeah. There was a difference. Padres, same thing. When you start watching the Padres on a regular basis, you know why they're not winning, but you need to watch them to see it.
That's right. They won 101 games the year prior, and just impeccable defense, impeccable way.
It was all there.
Throwing the ball. It was all there.
And yet
the next year they could not find it. I don't think that would have changed.
I don't think so either. Here's what Jerry Dipoto said, and I think Jerry Dipoto, who runs the Mariners, says a lot of things that are correct, and I think this is correct. He goes, I don't know that the solution to our problems is big-name players, and I'm not sure we have big problems. But I don't know where I stand on that. I think he's right. They won 88 games, but when you don't make your top 6 in a 6-team playoff format, you do have a problem. There is a problem, right? Not a big problem, but there's a problem.
Well, we were just talking about the Mets who had the big names, and they ended up having some big problems. So the big names don't to solve that. I think that the teams that seem to understand that the game was changing and changed with that, and maybe that's why Arizona was there at the end, because they were able to take advantage of the new rules, allowed them to steal bases, get more athletic, play some defense, all those little things that maybe the teams that just missed out.
There's luck involved. There's roll of the dice, but it's not everything, right? It's not. But I think Dipoto was right on that. Hall of Fame list. Again, I'm big on Chase Utley. Yeah. I'm just big on greatness. I'm not even going to throw numbers out here. Chase Utley was great, maybe for a shorter period of time than the average Hall of Famer, but Chase Utley, to me, having just seen him on the field, Ron, checks every box for me.
Yeah, as far as a performance, a winner,
fielding, base running, clutch hitting,
things.
Top level hitting.
I think the thing about Utley is that I did a lot of his games, and watching him play every day, he just felt like a Hall of Famer. When you watched him play, you're watching one of the best players in the National League. Maybe not the guy who's the best player, but he was in the top 10 of anyone that was playing, and maybe the best at his position. And when I think of Chase Utley, this is how I think about him. And it's hard because, you know, his last real play that people think about is the slide to second base with Tata and the rule change and all that. Before then, I always think of Chase Utley as our last greatest tough player. That's how I think about it.
Okay, right. And in all facets. By the way, part of that was sliding. He wasn't trying to break anybody's leg, but part of him sliding into second, like you're supposed to, hard and like you mean it, is part of how badly he wanted it. That was part of it.
The game changed on that night.
It did. All right, Joe Mauer, where are you on him?
Joe Mauer, I'm with everyone else. Got to see him early in his career. No one better at the catching position.
It's a yes or no vote, though. Where are we?
I'm a no.
You're a no because
once he left the catcher's position, I think the lack of power and the lack of huge seasons. He had a lot of good seasons, but not the huge seasons.
I think it's almost, to me,
batting championship.
You see, it's almost like I mean, he fell off. He had the slash line triple crown one year. He was the best player in baseball. He fell off after that, but it's almost like when you look at his rankings as compared to his position, and I'm going with catcher, it's almost like Ted Simmons. You look back and go, wait a second, if I'm comparing him to catchers, of course he's in. I think he's over the line, but granted, he didn't play his full career.
There's going to be a lot of discussion about it. No one's a bigger fan than Mauer. The concussions and all of that stuff took him out of the position where he was his greatest.
Yeah, I think he was great, and I think he's over the line. Down ballot, You know who I like? Jimmy Rollins. Even though it's nice. For different reasons, but I can get in the weeds on every player. Jimmy Rollins, if I'm a GM and I'm looking, who do I want on my team for 15 years? And is that a Hall of Famer? That guy's a Hall of Famer.
Every time they needed a big hit, a big play, to spark a rally, he just was there. And I think not a lot of people talk enough about his defense. One of the best, impeccable defending players I've seen at that position since I played against Alan Trammell in the 80s and 90s.
Who was a Hall of Fame and should have been a Hall of Fame. Also, J. Roll's playing 157, 158 every year at shortstop, Ronnie. I mean, he's just there constantly. That's part of giving value to your team.
And before we saw Acuna and what he did this year, that leadoff position that he played batting and the power and speed that he presented posed a lot of trouble for teams.
Last question here. We could do Hall of Fame for an hour here. Does Mike Shildt, is that a better choice for the Padres than Bob Melvin? Because they did have that choice. And you just said Bob Melvin now goes to the San Francisco Giants and they can start winning. So is Shildt a better choice than Melvin?
Well, what's interesting is that Bob Melvin and Shildt are kind of the same personality, easygoing guys, low-key guys. So why would Shildt work better than Bob? I think the reason is that he's had 1 foot kind of in the front office, 1 foot on the field. He's been able to listen to some of the gripes that these players have had. He's also been able to see what is happening on the field. And I'm sure at times when he went home at night, he said, you know, it's going to be interesting. If I ever got this job, this is how I'm going to handle these little issues that we have. And then what Derek Gould earlier talked about, he is a fundamental expert. He's going to bring all of those little things that win ball games over the course of 6 months. I think the San Diego Padres have a real chance to be a much better team.
I agree with you. I think Shildt is there for whatever reason, and there's lots of reasons. Bob Melvin was not working with that personnel. It was not working strategically. Otherwise, it wasn't working. If Shildt had been there, he was there behind the scenes the whole year, got to see it up close. I think he's best primed for that. So I think he's in better position.
Somehow they got off on the wrong foot, Melvin and the Padres. I will say this about Shildt. Of all the young managers that I've met, that I've sat in a room in their first month in the job, I sat with him and walked out of there and said, whoa, this guy's going to be a star.